Hi everyone, this is Nunu. I've been away for a little while because of the holidays and taking time to actually celebrate them. It's kind of new for me and it was kind of nice. I had a birthday and then Christmas followed, and it was interesting. It was interesting to actually be able to celebrate Christmas and celebrate my birthday, which is, it was forbidden to do for many, many years of my life because of being a Jehovah's Witness. Of course, they don't celebrate birthdays and hardly any holidays, really. Um, but I did get to experience it, and it was great to have friends who appreciates life and the celebration of life. Therefore, it's really good. Today, I wanted to take some time and talk a little bit more about what it was like growing up a Jehovah's Witness in an abusive household. Um, I know in the last video I talked about how my family was targeted, and we were targeted by a specific person so that he could get reinstated into the congregation. He was disfellowshipped or excommunicated when he met my mother, who was a single woman with kids, young children, and he was a gay man. And we didn't know he was a gay man, obviously, but he married my mother because she was young and naive and had children. And it was a perfect setting for him to scoop my mom up out of the rough streets and neighborhoods that we lived in and bring us to the country, with big house, big yard, things we always dreamed of, and parade us around as his new family so that he could get back into the congregation. The happiness was short lived. I remember I was 9 years old, and the happiness lasted for about 2 years. They had a baby together, and I have more siblings in my life and thoroughly enjoy being a big sister. I still enjoy being a big sister, and I take great pride in my siblings because all that we've been through, all the abuse and horrific things that happened to us, we turned out okay, I say, for the most part. Um, some of my family is still, in the what they call the truth. I call the lie. We're still in the Jehovah's Witness religion. But my siblings talk to me, even though they know that I'm no longer a part of Jehovah's Witnesses, and they do really discourage your family members from talking to you, even like especially if you don't live in the house. And disassociated people like me are treated pretty much like disfellowshipped people, where you cannot talk to them. And I do have, like, my grandmother right now isn't talking to me. She's Jehovah's Witness, and it's kind of hurtful. But when you're taught to be that way, when you're hypnotized and brainwashed into believing that, talking to disassociated ones would somehow hurt you or make God mad or, whatever, it really gets deeply implanted in your brain, and you are brainwashed into thinking these terrible things, and therefore end up treating your family members like they don't exist, because technically to them you're dead, like spiritually dead, but they consider you dead already because you're no longer a Jehovah's Witness. Not that you've lost faith or anything, because I still have faith. I still believe in God and Christ, and I consider myself a Christian, but a spiritual person rather than a religious person, like a person who is going to the Kingdom Hall every single week and basically worshiping an organization. I'd rather worship God than an organization, because sometimes it gets twisted when they refer to Jehovah God. It's almost like they're referring to the organization as Jehovah God. So you leave the organization and they say come back to Jehovah, and you're like, okay, I did not leave God. I still believe in God. I still worship God. But exactly what are you trying to tell me to do? So in their eyes, if you're not a Jehovah's Witness, you're not a God fearing or God loving person. You're just wicked. So I was forced into child baptism at the while I was being coached and coaxed into it, starting around 10 years old, and I was finally made to be baptized at 11 years old. Now, being baptized as a Jehovah's Witness is a little different than, baptisms and say just other Christian organizations where you're dedicating your life. You're being baptized in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and you're setting yourself as a Christian. What with Jehovah's Witnesses, it's a little bit more than that. It's more like a marriage at that point to an organization, because you're not just baptized in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. You also have to recognize that this baptism locks you into an organization like a marriage contract, and they make you literally stand up before you're dipped in the water and answer the question, do you recognize that this baptism makes you one of Jehovah's Witnesses, that you are dedicating your life to this organization? And you have to answer in the affirmative in order to get baptized. And I think the expectation is hard, because you have to now live by their rules and deny nature, basically. And as a child, this before you're able to reach the age of maturity, as a child you are expected to dedicate your life to this organization. You pioneer. Pioneers are people who diligently go knock on doors and collect hours for the preaching work, and they do more than the regular, as they call, publisher, whether baptized or unbaptized publisher. Pioneers are special. They have their own school that they go to, and it's when you're baptized, you're expected to do all of that stuff. And I was told from a very early age that I might as well just forget about college. I might as well just try to do my best in school to graduate, take up a trade, so that I could dedicate my life to this organization. And it was all about getting hours, hours, hours. And it was all for show. It was all for show, because our family was hiding deep, dark secrets. And the way that I was scared into baptism, I was literally told, okay, imagine being 10 years old and being told that if the end of the world, Armageddon, came tomorrow, and God came down and had to choose his righteous people, which they believe they are, Jehovah's Witnesses, that they're going to be the only ones surviving after Armageddon. I was told that if I was not baptized, okay, that no matter if I was a good girl and truly loved Jehovah with my whole heart, that if I wasn't baptized, God was going to destroy me. Yes, I was told that at 10 years old. And my indoctrination began. I was scared into it. I remember being 11 years old, climbing into that baptismal pool, crying and shaking, because I was terrified of what was to come afterwards. I didn't understand it. It like I said, it's kind of like entering a marriage contract. There's so many expectations of you, and you have to keep it up. So I was terrified and scared into this baptism. And once I was baptized, I did my best to try to put on that good show. I went out in field service with pioneers. I hung around elders' wives, and I did all of these things, but no one could see the pain that we were in, the abuse that my whole family suffered. It wasn't just me and my siblings. My mother was brainwashed. My mother was, made to believe that she didn't deserve anything better than this gay man who was going to take care of her children, and that, you know, being gay and you can just pray it away, and, you can be married to a person and just live your life that way. And it was not a happy one because this person was not being true to himself. So he took it out on us. He scared, he every opportunity he could use to use the religion to scare us into silence, he did. The next video I'll talk more about the abuse, but the child baptism is a problem. They say that if you've reached the age of maturity, they believe that you can't get married until you've reached the age of maturity. I've even heard talks where brothers would say that if your kid is 16, 17 years old and they're not baptized and they want to get their driver's license, you should threaten to not let them get their driver's license until they get baptized. I'm not joking. This is real. This is stuff you can actually find on YouTube. These are real talks told by elders and the 7 men up in New York, the heads of the Jehovah's Witness organization. It's real, and that kind of commitment, it's so different, because to get your driver's license, you study for a test. You're making responsibility, making your choices, and you take the test until you pass. And when you pass, you can drive. Marriage, you date a person before you marry them. You don't just jump right into it, unless it's reality TV. But same with baptism, with this organization, with so much that they expect from you, all that they want from you, basically your whole life. You're not allowed to celebrate anything. You're not allowed to have friends who are not Jehovah's Witnesses because they're considered bad association. You're not allowed to go to college. You're not allowed to, actually explore life unless it's centered around the organization. If you want to travel, then go to Gilead School and become a missionary. If you want to get higher education, become a pioneer, go to pioneer school. If you want a high position in life, seek to be a ministerial servant or an elder in the congregation. That's all they want from you, is your whole entire life. There is no freedom to use the freedom that God gave us, the free will that God gave us, unless you want to be shunned. And so that's my child baptism story, and that's my experience with growing up that way. But the abuse, the baptism, psychological abuse into that, the scaring a 10-year-old, saying that, you're going to get destroyed. God doesn't care if you're a good girl or not. You're 10 years old, you should get baptized. Being told that was horrible, because I felt like I was cheated out of having the baptism that I feel like I should have had. Jesus was baptized in his 30s, and he was ready. He knew who he was from the beginning, but that's when he chose to get baptized. And I feel cheated out of that. I feel like I would like to one day get baptized and feel that, be baptized in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, which I do believe in, and have that experience of my own and not be terrified. So maybe one day, who knows? um, Again, next video I'll talk about more of the abuse and how that began after the psychological abuse started, then the physical abuse, followed by sexual abuse. And again, I don't want to talk about that right now, but we'll definitely work our way up to it, subject by subject. But I hope that you guys are doing well, and I'm so grateful for those of you who've subscribed and people who have written emails to me. You guys are awesome, and I hope that you will continue to reach out, because we all need each other. You know, we're a community of survivors. It's not just, you know, Jehovah's Witnesses. There are other religions that practice shunning and that are considered a cult, you know, and they indoctrinate their children at very young ages and expect these great things of them that are just not right. And there are other organizations that are filled with abuse, and they tolerate it. They don't do anything to protect their children. So let's continue to connect. Please leave comments. Please continue to email me. Jesse, thank you for your email. I hope that you will continue to speak out and you know, find your way. I know you're still in, as you said, but hopefully one day you will find your way out of it. But you have to do it on your own terms. You have to do your own research. And that's not just for you, Jess. That's for everybody. So guys, take care. We'll talk soon. Later.